Hey guys, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make this video because I currently have no power. We had thunderstorms and really strong wind all night, so there's a bunch of trees down. I mean, you can't really see what I'm showing you, but there's a bunch of trees down, power's out. I haven't had power for a good couple hours now, but since my camera just takes AA batteries, I can still use it, so yay! And I was planning on doing this video sitting at my kitchen table like I did my magnetic passy video, but I don't have enough light there, so I'm here in my living room in front of this big window to get some natural light, which will probably be good anyway, so you can see the kit really well. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to put together my piglet kit that I just got from Bountiful Baby, the Thistle kit. I've never put together one of these kits before, but I've put together plenty of regular reborn baby kits, so it'll be a learning experience for all of us. So, if you don't want to see a piglet in pieces, if seeing reborns in pieces freaks you out, don't watch this video. Because, yeah, he's in pieces right now, poor little guy. So I'm going to show you him. This is the pre-painted factory paint Thistle kit. He already comes with the eyes inserted. It's his head, his cute little ears. I mean, the paint is good. It's not like, you know, a reborn artist would paint, but it's very good factory paint, and from a distance you would think this was real. And in photos he looks very real, but up close it's like, oh, he's definitely not real. And then we've got his legs. And his tiny little tail. So cute. Now, I was a bit worried when I opened this package. I'm like, oh god, these are like just some random limbs. I mean, it's not as easy as when you get a regular baby and you can tell, oh, this is the left hand, this is the right hand. You know, this is just big feet. But luckily, I noticed, I don't know if my camera will focus on it, but if you look at the front of the legs up here on this ring here, like this one says FL, so that's front left leg. This one is BR, so that's back right. This one is FR, so that's front right. And then this one is BL, so that's back right. So, yeah. I'm trying to think what else to say. So before you want to put your kit together, I mean, you would want to, of course, if you're got an open-eyed kit, you want to put the eyes in. This is not common for you to get a kit with the eyes already put in. So what you would normally have to do is go in through the inside. You can see that circle right there. That's the eye socket. So what you'd have to do is go in from the inside, cut along the bottom of the socket, and slip the eye inside. You can do that one so you can see it on both sides. And then of course you'd have to glue in behind them to set them in place. At the same time, I would usually do pacifiers, which I'm not going to do a pacifier for him. I thought about it, but he's a pig, number one. And number two, I don't want to wait 24 hours for the glue to dry. But what I would do if I was doing a magnetic pacifier for a doll is I would take an old crappy paintbrush and either probably should use, oh, of course everything's all glued to each other, yay! E6000 or Gem Tack. I use Gem Tack because it's not all smelly and irritating like E6000 is. My E6000 has a hole in it. That's exciting. Oh, look at that. Wonderful. It's all stuck to my stockings. Yay! Well, Anyway, you would take your glue, your E6000 that hopefully doesn't have a hole in it, and paint it all inside behind the mouth of your doll. And then hold a magnetic pacifier where you want it to sit on the face. Keep it held there. And then drop your magnet inside. You might need to shake it around a little bit, and it should snap right into place to the magnet that you're holding on the outside. And then just carefully let go. Make sure it still stays in place, and then just leave the head for 24 hours to make sure that the glue all sets in place. Let's see what else. And I, like when I put Patilia together, I did that in sealing the back of her eyes and sealing her hair all at once. So basically I painted gem tack all inside her head. Because yeah, if you had rooted hair on here that wasn't sealed, you would also want to paint the glue tons, I mean tons of it, all over where you would be able to see the hair poking through. This is going to be a long video. I'm going to have to do a lot of editing too. So you could have the hair sealing, the back of the eyes sealing, and the pacifier magnet sealing all at the same time. Just leave them all for 24 hours, and then you would be all set to start putting weight inside your baby and putting it all together. I think what else I can tell you. Alright, to put this all together, what you're going to need is, of course, the body. This body is for Thistle or Fawn, I believe. Yeah, Fawn. The limbs are the same for Fawn as well. But I got this body through Bountiful Baby. It's the one that's made for Thistle or Fawn. They already put the cable ties in all of the limb holes in the head hole. Now this body is going to be kind of interesting to figure out because it has a hole in here to put the tail in. They have pictures on the Bountiful Baby website of how to do it. So they sent a small cable tie for that part, and they sent me an extra cable tie in there as well. But I also have a bunch of cable ties on hand because you never know. You might screw up and you might need them. And you're going to need something to clip the cable ties on. Once you get them set, I use these. I couldn't tell you what the name of them is, but they're normally for clipping nails. These work pretty well for that. You can also use like the nail clippers that go sideways. I think they sell them on Bountiful Baby for that purpose. Just be super duper careful that you don't cut the cloth or cut your vinyl, no matter what kind of tool you're using. So I just find that those little clippers work the best for that. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna get started, and I will get back to you guys after I clean up my E6000 glue mess that apparently leaked everywhere all through my supplies. So I'll be back. Hello again. So I'm back, and I'm going to show you, well, at least tell you about putting weight in limbs. So these are virtually the same as any limbs that you'd get with any reborn doll. They're hollow on the inside, got a hole. Now what you can weight them with, what you should weight them with, is poly pellets or fine glass beads. Now I use poly pellets. I'll show you the bag right here. Poly pellets are, you know, if you, like me, grew up with Beanie Babies, it's the so-called beans that are inside them, is what this is. I find that I can buy a 2-pound bag for $10 at craft stores such as like Joann's Fabrics is actually the only store I have locally that sells them, unless I buy them online. But it can be kind of pricey to get your weighting materials mailed because they're heavy. So I tend to just buy them locally unless there's a deal online and I can save a little bit of money. So for the life of me, I have been looking for a funnel because that would make this so much easier, because you see how tiny these holes are, and actually Tilly's are like half of this diameter. Like you can barely fit a finger in there, so that you can get your weighting material inside. I haven't been able to find a funnel, so what I've been using that seems to work pretty good is some kind of a cup with a spout on it. So you like put your weighting material in here and pour it inside that way. Now, what I normally do is I fill up about 3/4 of it with poly pellets, and then the rest I put the polyfill, you know, the pillow fluffy stuff. So you can also use plugs for these. I don't really bother with plugs. I've never had any trouble with anything leaking out from a doll that I've put together. But it's up to you, personal preference, whatever. It looks like as well this tail you could put stuff inside, but I'm not going to bother because it's pretty flexible and soft, and I like it that way. Like you'd want to weight these because of course that's not natural. But this, without anything inside it, feels pretty natural, so I'll leave that alone. Yeah, I'm gonna put my poly pellets inside and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, so I'm back and I got my limbs all filled up. So like I said before, I filled them up with poly pellets to about here and made sure while I was pouring them in that I was like squeezing, feeling around, shaking this to make sure that the poly pellets get down into all the nooks and crannies. Like if you've got, you know, get into your hands and feet on your, or maybe into my hooves of my piglet, so that there's no weird empty spots. And when you put the polyfill in the top, pack it in as tight as you possibly can, because that's going to keep your poly pellets or glass beads from falling out. Oh, what else was I going to say? But yeah, you can also use the, there's little plugs you can buy instead. But that's just what I like to do. So, the next step is going to be attaching them to your lovely body here. So, if you've never worked with cable ties before, I wish I could do this two-handed, I'm so sorry guys, but you gotta take your flat end and insert it into this piece and pull it through and get it, you know, pull it tight enough so it's right up to here. And then to say, what is this left front? And then you hold your limb in there and pull it tight all the way, and it'll be attached like that. You want to make sure that the cable tie inside the cloth is going inside this ridge in the vinyl right here. Is where it needs to sit inside like that. Hope that's explanatory enough. See, I originally wanted to do this sitting at my kitchen table and have my camera set up so you could watch me actually do it two-handed, and it would make more sense, but because of lighting I cannot do it there, and I don't have a tripod, so I have no way to set my camera up so you can watch me actually do this, but try to show and explain as much as I can. But you know, feel free to ask me any questions you have. If I missed something, if something didn't make any sense, you can always DM me on Instagram. I'd love to help with this kind of thing. So I'm gonna put my limbs on and I will get back to you. So there was something I forgot to mention. I did get one of the limbs on so I can show you that. You see down inside, you can see the hole. But so this body is very similar to if you had like a reborn baby who's full limbs. So these would be considered like full limbs. If you've got one that's, say, 3/4 limbs or 1/4 limbs, like a Behringer would be probably 1/4 limbs, then it's a little bit different. And I'll show you, since Tilly heard me talking about her, she wanted to be in the video. So say hi. But she is 3/4 limbs, although please note the Jasper kit that her face is from is not 3/4 limbs, it's full limbs. But she has the Maisie limbs from a different kit. So when I was putting her together, before I could attach her limbs, I had to put polyfill in these little bits here. You see there's a joint here that attaches it to the body, but these are empty, so you have to fill them up with polyfill before you can attach your limbs on. So I just wanted to make mention of that. And I'll keep putting limbs on and I'll get back to you, or I'll, if I think of something else, I'll come back sooner. So, see you in a few. So hey, isn't this exactly the view you wanted to see of my piglet here? But after you get your cable ties on, and I'll tighten up, make sure that they're inside that little ridge I was telling you about. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to trim them down to about like this. And then you want to bend them over and tuck them up inside through here. It's hard to explain without doing it in front of you, but you can kind of see on this side I've already done it so that there's no pointy thing sticking out to stab you while you're cuddling your adorable little piglet. So you want to take it and like bend it down and slide it up inside the cloth that's holding the rest of the cable tie, so that it's not sticking out and poking you. And then try to, as best as you can, which you do very good here, kind of shimmy the cloth over what plastic is left sticking up so that it's not sharp. So I'm going to finish trimming and tucking in my cable ties, and then we're going to figure out how to do the tail, because obviously I'm going to have to put the tail in before I'm going to stuff the body. So oh, lovely. So I'll be back. Hello, I'm back again, and I'm not going to really be able to film putting the tail in, but I will insert the picture from Bountiful Baby of their instructions. But what I'll show you is, it should look like that from the outside. I haven't actually secured it in place yet, but what you do is you kind of push it in through from the inside until you get it about this far. So that little lip is right here, right where the seams start. And what I'm going to do is take that little cable tie that they included and strap it on to secure that in place. So, although now I noticed in the picture they did the tail first, but I don't think it really matters as long as you do it before you stuff the body or put the head on, else you're not going to have any access. So I'll be back and we'll start filling the body and filling the head. I'm already back. Look at my lovely headless piglet here. Anyway, I'll show you. There's the tail from the outside again. I'll secure it in place and I'll show you what it looks like on the inside now that I've got the cable tie in place. And see, and I tightened it up and I just trimmed it right to the edge because of course there's no ridge to tuck it inside or anything, and I just didn't want... Oh, my power just came back on. Hopefully it stays. I just trimmed it right to the edge. There's nowhere to tuck it. I just didn't want all that extra cable tie hanging out in his body. So the next bit we're gonna do is going to be, everything's beeping because it just turned back on. We're gonna put the weight in the head and in the body. So what you're going to need for that is your poly pellets or your glass beads again. And I use they're knee-high women's stockings, and you can buy these at like Walmart for like, I think they sell some for like 33 cents a pair, or I bought like a 10 pack for like $2 or something ridiculous like that. So I've got about 3 of these because what I normally do is, and these are to hold the poly pellets so they're not loose inside the body, and I have never used glass beads myself, so I couldn't really tell you, but you want to make sure if you're using glass beads that whatever you hold them in doesn't have holes that are big enough for the glass beads to come leaking out. So you might want to like double wrap them in the stockings. And please, for the love of God, don't use a dirty sock. I got a baby that was weighted with rice inside dirty socks, and it was horrifying. So don't do that, please. So I'm going to get back to you in a minute once I get things set up a little bit. I might set up so you can actually watch me now that I have power back, but I don't know if it's going to last because it's flickered on a couple times and then I've lost it again, so I'll be back. So I want to tell you guys this tip that has totally saved me from getting poly pellets all over my floor. And I now have them all inside my couch. It's pretty awful because I kept making messes. So what I've done is I've got a cup here, a small, pretty wide cup. It doesn't have to be My Little Pony cup, but you know, that helps. And I stretched the stocking over it. You can see this is the inside of the stocking. And I've got my measuring cup full of poly pellets, and then you can just waiting for my cup to get tipped over. You can just pour them in, and you don't get them everywhere. You might need to push them down. Then you can kind of feel how much weight it is, so picking it up. And figuring out how much weight you should put in the head and the body is kind of trial and error, and it depends on the size of the doll you're working with. So there's nothing I can really tell you here. Also, I don't have any sort of scale that I could measure and tell you how much anything weighs, so yeah, I'm gonna fill up my 3 stockings. I can't remember if I said it or not, but 1 for the head and 2 for the body. Usually what I do, when I put my weights in, is the one for the head. I put it in and it goes so it sits towards the back of the head. I don't know if I'm going to do the same for the pig though, because you know, he's not like a baby that you want the head to tip back. And for the body, I'll probably put 1 above the back legs and one above the front legs, just to evenly distribute the weight. I do the same sort of thing. I'm gonna get Tilly back over here. She's still got her little arm sticking out. I think she might only have one in her because she's so small, but a lot of times what I'll do is I've got one in the butt and one in the chest. If it's a newborn baby that I want to be kind of floppy, they'll be pretty much equal size, but if it's a bigger baby that I want to sit up really well, I'll have a much bigger weight in the butt to help them sit up. And you always want to make sure that you put, see, I didn't do it quite right in her and I can feel them, put polyfill all around the bags of glass beads or poly pellets, that when you're feeling around on the baby you can't feel. See, I can kind of feel it in her, but I'm going to take her apart and fix her up because I rushed putting her together because I just wanted her so bad. But when you squeeze around, you should not be able to feel like a bag of beans, and they just should feel squishy and nice. So yeah, I'm going to fill up my stockings here and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, we're in the home stretch here. We're almost done. I got my 3 stockings full of poly pellets all done. What I want to show you real quick is after I put my poly pellets in here, I've tied a knot at the top, but then also what I like to do is take, if this makes any sense without doing it, instead of just cutting this off, take it, turn it inside out, flip it on over itself, tie another knot, and then do it again a 3rd time, so then it's tripled over. And this is what it looks like in the end. Makes any sense. And just turn the end of the stocking inside out over this, tie a knot, then do the same again. And you can use one whole knee high for a little pouch of poly pellets or glass beads. So I already have one of them I put inside the head. I'm not sure if how well you can see that, but I've got it so it's sitting right at the back of his head. There. And before you put this in, you of course, if this was a baby that you had needed to seal the hair, seal the eyes, or glue in a magnet, that all that stuff was dry before you do this. Or else you're going to end up with a stocking glued to the inside of their head, and it's going to make a humongous mess when if you have to take it out and redo anything. So don't do that. Speaking from personal experience from buying a lot of boo-boo babies. So once that's set in place, excuse me, you want to do similar to what you did with the limbs and fill up all the rest of it with your polyfill and fill it up nice and tight all the way out to the neck. And I'll show you this in more detail. If you're putting these in the body, you're going to want to kind of make a lining of polyfill all inside. Well, first put it down in the butt, put one of these in, cover around the side of it with polyfill, put your next one in, fill in all around the side of it, and just make sure that you cannot feel this from the outside. It doesn't feel as nice and cuddly as this does. So I'll show you that in more detail in just a moment. Okay, so what I've done, you can see down inside there, is I've made like a little cushion all around the bag of poly pellets. So there's polyfill down in his butt and all around this. So I'm going to do the same thing with the next little bag, just so you can see. And also make sure, I've got to fix this a little bit, but with this body that you get the polyfill down into these limbs so you don't have, like, I've got going on here, this one's really loose. And also, this is also a personal preference thing as to how hard or soft you like your dolls to end up in the end. So, just recommendations and what I do. So don't take it as this is the only way to do it, because it's not. It's all about what you like. So, I will be back. So yay, we're on our last little step. I've got his body all filled. Now, since this is an awake piglet, I stuffed him really tight and really hard because I want him to be able to stand up, as you can see. And at this point, before you put your doll on, you want to feel around and make sure that this is exactly how you want it. Or else you're going to end up like what I end up doing, like with poor little Tilly here, that I'm probably going to take her apart again and redo her because her weighting's floating around, her limbs aren't filled enough, you know. So don't rush it. Sorry, Tilly, you're still wonderful. I still love you. But don't rush yourself. Be like, oh my gosh, I'm almost done. Just stick the head on. No, feel around. Make sure everything is good and filled and the way you want it before you put your head on. And see, I've also put all the polyfill in the head too. You know, feel and squish around the head too. Make sure your weighting isn't going to fall out. So, and before you put the head on, you want to make sure you have polyfill like kind of sticking out like this, or else you're going to put his head on and it's going to go like, it's going to go off to the side. So you want to make sure, unless, I mean, you want it that way. I mean, that's totally your prerogative. So, make sure you've got enough stuffing covering the top there. And just look all over and make sure everything's the way you want it. And then you attach the head on just like you did with the limbs. So, I will be back with a completed little piglet for you. I'm back, and I've got an adorable little finished piglet here. I think what I did might be a little bit too stiff, because he's like not that cuddly or anything, and that maybe he would benefit from having an armature of some sort, so that he could move better. But, let's see, this is a preemie size sleeper, so he fits preemie like exactly, which I was concerned about. I did have to tuck his tail inside, though, to make it fit. But I do plan on making him some custom clothes so that we don't have to do that, so he can just have his little tail out so you can see it. But he's all together. He is super adorable. I'm probably going to make a few adjustments, but overall, he's done. And he's super cute. And I love him. I haven't 100% decided on a name yet, but I'll let you guys know. So I hope this was a helpful video. Please let me know in the comments or DM me on Instagram if you have any questions or need any help. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.